Hi friends! Today I'm diving into Guidus Zero, a real-time grid-based action roguelite with a progression system. And in each playthrough, we'll acquire unique spirits and artifacts, opening up different builds and playstyles to experiment with. It's a game developed by a Korean indie developer named Izzle. So join me as I embark on an adventure to explore the mysterious sinkhole called Scar and uncover its secrets. The game will officially launch on November 25th with an early access price of $14.99 plus a 10% launch discount available for 2 weeks after release. I'll post the link in the description and pin it on the comments. Also, in this story video, every 10 minutes of gameplay will be equivalent to one in-game day. So, let's begin. So our story begins in a place called the Forbidden Forest. And after familiarizing myself with the controls, it was now time to head out. For the first enemies we have encountered, there are goblins and bats. They look really threatening though, but no matter, we have our trait skill which can easily eliminate the enemy. Honestly, I rely too much on this trait skill because the damage in this compared to my basic attack is just so far. And now this is where I realized that there was a stamina system in the game, so if I keep like dashing away or dodging away from enemy attacks, I will lose the stamina to dodge and will be stuck in place. So yeah, I had to learn it the hard way. There are also traps in the game, but they're easily avoidable by our dodge. So there's an invincibility frame for when we dodge, so that's good. We can time our dodges for like, dangerous looking attacks. And then we have encountered this treasure chest right here where we have a choice to pick whichever artifact we want. So on the choices that I chose the beehive because I'm gonna attack in the front, so I don't know what to do with this axe that attacks behind us. I then encountered this armored beetle guy and I was being taught how to do a special move. So it's like a dash strike which moves me like one grid closer to the enemy. So that's pretty helpful when we're like trying to close the gap against our enemy. And I'm pretty scared against this guy, so I maintain my distance and just wait for like opportunities to attack freely. Continuing on, we eventually encountered this guy. I assume he was one of my allies. But well, he got corrupted, so he's now one of the field bosses in this dungeon. So his name is Zyrus and he is the first boss we face in this game. He seems pretty dangerous, but I easily avoided most of his attack. It's mostly like arrow attacks. I just need to be careful and I can defeat this dude. He does attack really fast though, so I had a hard time dodging. I'm not really familiar well with the movements of the game yet, so I'm not sure if I can defeat this guy. But if I time my trait attack correctly, I can avoid most of his attacks and I can deal damage to him. This arrow rain is pretty annoying though because I have to like, keep running around so it doesn't hit me. The battle continued for a bit until I eventually reached like 2/3 of its HP, and then we see a cutscene right here where we got hit by an arrow and got defeated. But then something magical happened. Time stopped and I was rescued by a mage. So currently we're at the Central Continental Coastal Area. That was a pretty long name. Anyways, the name of this mage is Hazel. And she explained how we're currently stuck in a place called Scar. And in this place, time is trapped inside, as Hazel said. So basically, it's an infinite loop of something. So while she was explaining everything to me, a sudden ship came crashing on the place where we're at. And this guy came out and his name was Holland. He explained how a storm has wrecked the ship and he is the only survivor of the said storm. And so this is our current base of operations. We don't really have a lot of people here, only Solan and Hazel. As for our name, we are Dalia. Anyways, I ventured once more to the Forbidden Forest. The enemies are same as earlier, but this time I've encountered a mage-like enemy where he summons like a fire explosion in an area. I'm currently very careful of my playthrough because I'm not really familiar with the controls yet. So once we're used to this, I can go much faster, I believe. My own personal player skill also levels up as I play more of the game. After defeating the first batch of enemies, I encountered these rogue archers and also a flame spirit. Anyways, the rogue archers are pretty easy to dodge since there's like a line of sight where they're gonna fire their arrow. As long as I'm aware, I should be able to easily dodge all of their attacks. Another new type of enemy I encountered is this plant-like creatures. He usually like shoots seeds above and then it will hit you on the head, but easily dodgeable as long as you look at where its projectile is. There are also these rock-looking things. When you break them, you can get something like a stone, and using that stone, you can enhance the stats of your character. And totally did not notice I actually leveled up to level 2 here, and now I have a choice to what kind of skill I will go for. With nimble movement, I can have like a more invincibility time frame using my skill or our trait, the Moonlight Slash. Or I can choose the other one and potentially increase the tile movement by 1. I of course went for nimble movement as I wanted the invincibility frames because it's gonna be very useful. And looky, a chest, so now we can choose an artifact. So there's one that reveals the boss room. I don't really care about that one. I care more about increasing my attack power because we will eventually find a boss room, and I always plan to like search all over the room because I want to get powerful enough before each floor. There are also areas in the dungeon where we can encounter a merchant that will sell stuff for us. So he is accepting like, I'm not sure what the name of the currency is, but basically the purple balls are currencies you can get by defeating monsters inside the dungeon. They reset each time you go in and out of the dungeon, so you start with 0, and as you progress, you collect more and more, and you can use it to buy stuff from the merchant. So it was finally time for the boss room. So the boss here is called Shadow Whisper. It's a giant tree, and currently it's being shielded by its roots, and once we have destroyed the roots, we can now target the tree. My burst damage with the Moonlight Slash is so good. Like, just look at the DPS on that thing. You can see the boss HP going down so fast. We gotta be careful though because he keeps throwing like those ball purple projectiles that we have to dodge. He also has our root attack that like, you know, pokes us from the bottom. And also that thing, once we break his roots, he usually does that wave-like attack. I did not really notice the red indicators that where I should be standing when he does that skill. Anyways, I mostly just tank whatever he tries to hit me or make use of my invincibility frame and dash through the roots attack like this. So yeah, I don't get damage if I dash inside it. Now, after a couple of hits, we have defeated the boss and leveled up to level 3. After defeating the boss, we have a huge chest right here where it will give us a random artifact. And it's more rarer than the artifacts that we have encountered so far, but I guess my RNG was pretty bad. This sword is cool. It reduces our trade by 50%, but instead of stamina, it uses HP. And we don't really have a lot of HP and potion going for us, so I guess I have no choice but to get the Hell's Aura. And yeah, with our level going up, we now have another choice on getting a skill, which I chose the Moonlight Dispel skill, which spreads my hit of my Moonlight Slash to enemies on an X pattern or cross pattern. And yeah, we've now entered the deeper parts of the Forbidden Forest. New monster encounter, there are now these beetle monsters. Their attack is like just a straight up charge in my face, which is easily avoidable. So we're fine. The armored beetle also spawns here now. So these guys were pretty tough because they sometimes have this super armor where I can't damage them. And also they have a really hard attack pattern for me to dodge, but I can easily learn this. Alright, so another new enemy encounter. The plants with teeth, and they shoot out like homing thorns. These guys are honestly pretty tough and very annoying to dodge the thorns. So I mostly focus on them if I see them. And finally, after a long dungeon dwelling, I finally reached the boss area, Zyrus. So it was time to see if I can beat him now because I couldn't beat him before. I only have like 26 health left and no more potions. So I need to be careful or else I need to repeat everything again. Now that I took like 2/3 of his health, he had a new attack. It wasn't really hard to dodge. It's just, it looks very dangerous. Also for our remaining HP, we only have like 6 left. So this is kind of a struggle. Ultimately though, I died. But worry not, we have learned a lot from this battle. battle, we can come back stronger. After respawning back at our base, we can now enhance our ability with the help of Hazel right here. So the redstones that we have gained through the dungeon, we can use it to level up some of our stats. So for now, I'll focus on leveling up our attack. By leveling this to level 1, we can get like +2 attack. It was now time to head back to the forest because we were looking for the advanced team. Dalia seems to be really worried about it, and I'm not really sure what's happening, but darkness has eaten me whole. And it's calling for me. It's calling for me to dive the dungeon deeper. To the deepest part of this world. Well, we'll eventually get there. So just wait and I will whack you. Anyhow, I then had an encounter with this animal person. So her name is Yoru, and she can bestow upon us spirits that will aid us in battle. These little fellas will make us stronger. Our adventure in the dungeon will be much more easier once we level them up. So I dove the dungeon once more, defeated the enemies we have already defeated. So now that we had knowledge on how they attack, they were much more easier to defeat now than before. I tried out some new skills from my leveling tree. I didn't choose the one I chose before. Just look at this. It cuts like a moon. It looks really cool. Like I said earlier, in this game, there are things called stones. And these stones have like different stats and also rarity. So you can customize them at your preference. It was now time for our rematch with Zyrus. As you can see, I have an extra shield. I have a full HP. I was way better than I was on our first round. So I have a lot of extra stuff that I can challenge this guy with. I also have an extra potion I haven't used yet. So as you can see, my skills had surely leveled up, but still though, I lost my shield. Now that I have seen his attacks, or his attack pattern, this fight was easier than I thought. I became better as a player after experiencing the hell I experienced on the first round. So yeah, this poor guy will get his butt beaten. After a couple more hits, we finally reach the third phase. And this guy has this crazy move where he shoots like arrows all over the place. So with minimal movements, I managed to dodge everything he tried to hit me with. This wasn't as bad as I thought, and I could easily just avoid all his attacks. But slowly though, he has been increasing in the attack speed. I really need to kill this guy as soon as I can, or I will suffer a lot of damage in the long run. We need to keep ourselves healthy because there's still the other deeper parts of the dungeon. So as much as possible, I wanted to save my health. But you can see his attack speed is throwing me off my game. He's very fast. I had to use my potion just to make sure I don't die accidentally. And after a few more hits, he is finally dead. Let's go. So yeah, Zyrus' time has come. We are sad, but he gave us a very important information that our brother, the expedition captain, he saw him go even deeper in the dungeon. So I guess that's our goal, to go even deeper in the dungeon. Suddenly, our vision started being woozy, and also we're getting like a headache. And we have a vision here. Not really sure what's happening, but I see a door, and it's telling me that I am the key. The key to what exactly? I guess we'll find out the deeper we dive in the dungeon. But then it told me the key to saving everyone. Okay, I guess, sure. I gained a level after defeating the boss, so now I can level up another skill. I chose this one called Lunar Rush because it will deal an additional blow to the enemy, and it sounds really cool and powerful, so yeah, I took it. Also, I have this artifact called the Veckan's Horn, which increases my attack by 20% in a certain area. This will randomly activate every 30 seconds, so if we're inside like the area, we get 20% attack. And after picking the horn, I actually didn't realize, but I already like leveled up my spirit thingy. So now I can choose what kind of power my wind spirit will wield. I chose the one that granted me like a level 1 dash, and when I move, it increases my crit. So now we have a spirit following us, and I also have like the aura of wind. That's pretty cool. Upon descending down the stairs, there was a new contraption here called the Artifact Transmitter. But my dumb self mistakenly entered the next floor, so I couldn't really activate the transmitter. I'm so sad. Anyways, we reached chapter 2, the underground prison. The enemies here were honestly very dangerous looking. There's like poison rats, poisonous slimes, skeletons. Still though, Moonlight Slash is amazing as always. I can easily defeat them using one slash. But the skeletons though, we need to kill it again once it's down, or else it will reanimate again and fight us. For the rats, whenever you hit them, they usually move, but I guess it's stuck on a wall. There are also these little spiders, red and green one. The red one is a melee one, while the green-purple one shoots like purple bullets. So yeah, obviously as we progress through the dungeon, the enemies will get stronger and stronger, and it will pose more of a challenge to us. And after clearing all the rooms, it was finally time for a boss fight. So this boss is called Priscilla, and it's a giant spider that shoots like webs, also goes up and slams the ground, which deals a lot of damage. She also spawns like eggs, and if we don't destroy the eggs, it will hatch into those red and purple spiders. So we really need to destroy the eggs, or else we'll get ganked up by a lot of spiders, and that's gonna be dangerous because, being attacked by a group is dangerous. On the second phase, she does this thing where she attacks with poison. So I need to find a way to avoid this. I never really figured it out, but you can actually just hide behind the eggs. I was just lucky there, but still, I never figured out how to actually dodge that attack. I'm just lucky, and I avoided luckily. This time as well, I was behind an egg, so I was pretty safe. So the lower her HP gets, the more she will spawn eggs. So yeah, it gets harder and harder the more her HP goes down. And just look at this amount of eggs that she spawns now that we're on the third phase. I am so close to death now. The longer the fight goes on, the more chaotic it is. It gets harder and harder to destroy the eggs as she's spawning so many of them. So I had no choice but to rush in her face. I'm honestly just doing my best here, destroying the eggs, hitting the mom, and then she's doing her special attack again. I'm so close to beating this thing, but just look at the amount of spiders. I got overwhelmed and I died. When I entered the dungeon again, I met a dwarf at the Scar Gateway. So this dwarf was called Tharin, and he will help us make some stones, if that makes sense. The stones that gives like stats to boost our character. So yeah, that's his job at the camp. We can either just give him some stone fragments, or also like give stone fragments plus the red jewel stone thingy, and we'll have a higher chance of making a higher rarity stone. So yeah, I'll be making use of this later on. But for now, my main use for the red stones is to increase my stats, not really prioritizing the stones. Also, now I can choose what skill I want to use or what trait I want to use. So there's this new thing called a crescent slash. It slashes the sword in a crescent shape, inflicting 100% damage and bleed on enemies. That sounds really cool. So of course, I'm trying this out. Look at this. It's so cool. It's like a wide range AoE. Trying it out at the monsters, I really like the wide range. But the damage though, Moonlight Slash was better. But there's always perks having like a wide range AoE. But maybe once we level up some more, like the passive bonuses on this skill would be better. Upon killing even more monster, I finally leveled up. So we had two choices here, either to increase the bleed damage or to increase the duration of the bleed. I chose to increase the damage. There's also this really amazing skill called Combo Crescent Slash, that whenever we crit hit, there's a certain chance that it will automatically cast the Crescent Slash. So this will be very useful once we have an increased crit rate. So I feel like the Crescent Slash is focused on late game character. We'll eventually find artifacts and other stuff that will increase our crit rate. I can also bypass the root here since my Crescent skill is like a really wide range circle. I can just like ignore the root and just, straight up hit it with my skill. Sadly though, the cooldown for this is like around 10 seconds. So it takes a while before we can cast one each time. It was kind of a struggle compared to when we had the Moonlight Slash, but still we have defeated the first boss and we gained a level. For the skill, I leveled up Find Weakness, as after we use our skill, our next basic attack will do a critical hit. I thought this was good at the moment, but I think in the long run, the other skill was better, so we can consistently cast like Crescent Slash. The best thing about this skill tree is the Blood Festival, because if you have the Blood Festival, there's a chance you can heal like 1% of your HP. And I think that's amazing. It's the first lifesteal we have. I had a harder time dealing with Zyrus with this skill because I couldn't dash behind him anymore when he tries to shoot me with an arrow. So I had to manually run around in order to dash his skill before I could just dash behind him, give him some damage, and, you know, safely attack him after using my Moonlight Slash. But with my Crescent Slash, I have to play it safe and, yeah, just avoid most of his attacks because I don't have the invincibility frame of slashing his face. I still managed to beat him though, but it was a struggle. I had to use my potion and currently I'm like 36 HP left. I, however, leveled up, so we gained some HP back. Also, this chest, when you whack it, sometimes it gives you like health as well. And I just realized this Bloodstain sword is really good for this trait. Because if we have the Blood Festival, and since the cooldown is reduced by 50%, we can continuously and very fast use our trait skill. But yeah, that was the plan I had in mind that I could do in the future. Anyways, finally I was able to interact with this weird looking thing, which I couldn't before. There was really nothing like a button to make use of this, so I guess I'll just move on. I'm lacking a lot of DPS now that I'm using the Crescent Slash. I guess you can say that the bleed doesn't really do enough burst damage to make my life easier. It's more of like consistency on the DPS and also the wide range of AoE that I can do. Maybe once we upgrade our attacks further, we can eventually one-shot all of these on one Crescent Slash. As I reached the boss area, there was this weirdly moving egg. I thought it was an egg, but it was actually a person covered in web. So thankfully, I came in time to save this person. But suddenly, her companion arrived and thought that I was a threat to her friend. I told her that I was no harm to her friend. And yeah, I know a safe place just outside of this dungeon. While we were having our conversation, the spider boss then suddenly appeared. So I had to fight this boss in order for them to get away. And so I initiated the battle, but I only had like 41 HP left. I mean 27. So life is pretty hard right now. And I don't think I can win this actually. Currently my damage with the slash was really low and I don't think, yeah, this is not looking good for me. On our third run, maybe I can defeat... Oh, no, I mean fourth run. I think this is the fourth run already. Still, though, I tried my best. Maybe I had what it takes to defeat this spider boss, even without potions, even with only the lowest amount of HP. It may be possible. Well, at least I got like almost like 1/3 of its HP. I just didn't know how to dodge that attack yet. And I died. Anyhow, early in the morning at camp, we were currently looking at this weird structure. And as we, I guess, touch it or interact with it, they suddenly, summoned two person, a robot and this guy. So the robot name is Epsilon. I had no idea what the other guy's name was, but we will know after interacting with him. Anyhow, the person we recently saved was called Mika. I really like the color scheme of this person. Also, the name of the mage was Zin. She is an arc wizard, and Mika is her assistant. After that interaction, Zin is now a playable character for us to try. Also, if you notice earlier, the dwarf is already at our camp and now he can make some stones for us. So this is what the interface looks like in order to make some stones that can boost our stats. So we can use our redstones in order to increase the chance of getting rare pieces. We can also increase the amount of stones that we put in order to reach the red bar, which would be legendary. And I think purple is epic. I'm not really sure what the yellow indicates. Mystic, maybe? Blue is rare and the gray is common. But yeah, it's not really a priority for me right now. My priority is increasing my stats, which is increasing more of my attack power. So the other person's name was actually Ashur. Yeah, just wanted to say that. Anyways, for our next run, I'm gonna try out Zin, the Arc Wizard. For our first run with the wizard, I'll be using the skill called Arcane Blade. I'm not really sure how the mechanic works on this, but each time I hit an enemy, I spawn a blade that will spin around me. I'm reading through the description, but my brain right now has no capacity to understand what I'm currently doing. But anyways, I pew pew on the monster and I summon like blades to spin around me, and these blades will damage the enemies that they touch. It's pretty OP actually. It hurts a lot. Just look at the HP of these monsters going to 0. Also, I gained a level and leveled up something called a Blade Forge, which increases the amount of hits my blades can do. Against the boss, I'm doing pretty good actually. The damage is there. It's just that I don't understand how to spawn more blades. Maybe the amount of times I attack something, it will spawn a blade. But yeah, my DPS is pretty good. It's not bad, honestly. And yeah, after a while of attacking the Shadow Whisper, we have defeated it. I gained a level and then acquired the skill called the Blade Hail. Just look at the damage on these blades against monsters. It's so fun to actually just, you know, get besides a monster and have the blades like kill them. Look how fast we destroy these guys. Against bosses though, it's not that effective, but against normal mobs, they die pretty quick. Okay, another showcase. Just look at this. I'm hastily killing everything that's beside me. But I just don't like the fact that the blades disappear after a few hits. So maybe there's an upgrade for this so it will last longer. Anyhow, I struggled a bit with the Zyrus fight as he keeps like backing off or teleporting away. And yeah, my main DPS right now was to stand beside him and hit him with my range attacks, and as well as like hitting him with my swirling blades. It was a struggle, but I still managed to defeat the Zyrus. Let's go. I'm hoping that these blades will be very good against the spider boss. For my next level up, I got the skill called Blade Flower, which increases the attacks of my blade. And because of the skill, look at my blades. It changed shape now. Also, this thing is now working because of Epsilon. We can use the transmitter so we can get like a random artifact. I got pretty lucky with this artifact because I got this feather that whenever I use my ability, it will shoot a feather that deals like, I think 50% of the damage. It was actually a legendary feather that deals like 300% damage. Oh, this is amazing. This is quite a lucky run actually. Every time I use my skill, it will shoot like a feather. And trying it out on a monster, they just die. Like, look at that. Look at that amazing phoenix feather. I call it phoenix feather because it's orange, but it's actually just a Hobilin feather. But yeah, it's amazing. I'm like killing these monsters very fast. Blades as well. Their DPS is so high. It's crazy. Now, boss time. It's time to see how we fare against the boss spider. And you can already see like my damage is chipping away at the boss's HP. But I guess it will slowly decrease once we lose our blades. Still though, look at that HP. It's almost like 2/3. I decided that the best course of action right now was just to rush the boss, because I have no idea how to avoid his special attack. So I just like focus fired everything on the boss and I managed to defeat it. I had no more potions though, but our HP was around 63, so we're fine for the next stage. Also, I leveled up and got the skill called Blade Flux, which makes our blades spin faster. For the next area, the enemies were the same. The spiders, the rats, and the skeletons. But there was an addition of this gargoyle right here. It was pretty tanky, but you can easily avoid it by just keeping your distance. Anyhow, I managed to reach the boss area, and the boss for this floor is a Gorgon. She attacks really fast, and sometimes she summons a slimes that explodes randomly in the area. She also has a scream attack with a wide range AoE, which is easily dodgeable but just going inside her range. Also, she has that thing where what Gorgons do that stuns you, but my problem against that is I don't know how to avoid that. Maybe just time my dash right or something. I did not even know how I avoided that first one. I eventually reached like 2/3 of its HP, and now she keeps spamming her like, I don't know, turn to stone skill. Just guessing here, but I think I just need to not look at her, like the opposite side of where she's looking. Anyhow, the moment I reach like 1/3 of her HP, she goes really crazy and spams her like stone skill ability a lot of times. And I had no idea how to avoid this. This is basically insta-kill right here. And yeah, I couldn't move at all and I died to a rockfall. And it's over. As I went back to the camp, I see a cutscene here where Solan was speaking to someone with a glowing fist. Anyways, this guy was demonstrating his power by punching a rock, but it did nothing. Well, not until he did this focus attack where the rock just went flying and destroyed part of the boat where Solan crashed. Amazing. Anyways, the martial artist looking dude is called Chatri. And he's another playable character that we can use in this game. But for now, I won't use him yet. I want to try Arcane Unleash first. Another one of the skills that the Arcane Wizard can do. So using this trait, I can mark enemies with stars. And once I activate or unleash my skills, it will explode and kill the monsters. This was pretty good. Like, the damage is amazing. I was actually enjoying this trait. It's so good. It has an AoE as well, so it can like damage the monsters around it. I can have a maximum of like 3 stack on this before I decide to explode it. I then leveled up and upgraded a skill called Stamina Control, as this thing has a chance of not consuming stamina when I unleash the skill. And we'll be needing a lot of our stamina so we can keep dashing. On a treasure chest, I found this artifact that deals like 200% damage to enemies every 10 seconds randomly on a map. There's also a chance that it will target me and deals like 10 damage. So this was a risky artifact, but I took it anyways. This trait against the tree boss, it's really good because it can bypass the root and just hit the boss straight. So just look at how I'm bursting the boss with this trait. It's honestly fairly easy to defeat this tree. Would also be nicer though if we actually did some damage, but with this trait we can only deal like 1 damage each. So our main damage is when we unleash like the stars that's surrounding the enemy and burst it down. Still though, it's really good because look at this. It's amazing. The AoE is great and yeah, potentially it's just a really great skill overall. I had to restart the run because my PC crashed on me, so I had to redo everything again. But hey, let's get to the part where we go to the next area. So yeah, for this trait, it did pretty well against the tree. But against Zyrus, I actually struggled a lot since I'm only hitting like 1 damage and it only damages when I unleash the skill. So I only deal like about 100 plus damage each time I try to burst my skill after stacking it on Zyrus. So this fight will take a while before we conclude our win. I realized how more powerful Arcane Blade was compared to this, but this is really powerful against mobs. Just that against bosses, it's not as strong as the Arcane Blades. It took a while, but I finally defeated Zyrus. And I'm very happy that the fight ended because I'm hoping that I can get stronger if I level up some more. Anyhow, after defeating Zyrus, we got an artifact called the Twisted Axe. The one that like shoots axe behind you when you attack. And because of this, we have reached enough spirit power. Let's just call it spirit power. So now I can choose what kind of perk my spirit will have. I chose something called a Frost Sword. So whenever I attack, there's a chance to summon some Frost Swords. And I'm hoping that will help us with our DPS problem. Anyways, for the passive skill, I chose the Arcane Overload so I can stack more Arcane Orbs on the enemies. So I can now stack like 4 stars on the enemies before I make them explode. It basically one-shot burst them once exploded, but I didn't really need to stack like 4. Just 3 was enough to kill everything. And look, 1 Frost Sword rose up to 3 actually. So these things will shoot or attack the enemy if ever I dash. It's a really helpful spirit skill. It's really nice each time I attack. So attack speed would be really good for this perk. Anyways, let's see how we fare against the spider boss. So my problem here is if she disappears, I won't be able to like unleash my power and burst it down. But I think this is gonna be very helpful against like, you know, her spawned eggs. because it's an AoE skill. So that means we can also burst the eggs that she might spawn besides her. And same as usual, my problem really against this boss is I have no idea how to dodge this attack skill of hers. I was trying to time my dash, but I just couldn't avoid it. Figured it out later on that you can just hide behind the eggs and yeah, you don't get damage from her special poison or explosion attack. Anyways, with this character and the trait for Unleash, I couldn't defeat the spider because I struggled a lot with its special move. Anyhow, I decided to try out the martial artist. And for the first trait we're gonna try, we're going for Barrage. It's a barrage of fists that will hit our enemy until it dies. So our first combat with this guy, his attack is pretty strong, but I didn't really like the barrage skill itself. But the normal attack was pretty strong. Like he crits a lot and the damage is pretty solid, like 15, 25, 15, 25. For the barrage skill, it leaves me very vulnerable to attacks, so I try to avoid using it. Once we level up, there's a certain passive that we can get to reduce damage taken by 50%, or a shield that will make us invulnerable for one attack. So that's something I'm looking forward to. So for now, I'll hold off using the barrage unless we're safe from using it. So this is what I mean. We now gain a shield that will last while barrage is active. So now we can make use of barrage, and we also have like one immune window where we can shield up. Even with the shield, it's still hard like to think when to use this skill because sometimes there's just a lot of attacks trying to kill me, so it's really hard to time my barrage right. So instead, what I can do with this is only use barrage when I'm in danger so I can get that extra shield. Still though, it's fun to think about how I can utilize this barrage, and just like this, I have defeated the tree boss. I gained a level and took a passive skill called Earthquake. This will enable our barrage to do some AoE damage mid-range around us. So this will be pretty helpful if there's like a mob we try to defeat. And against Zyrus, I struggle a lot to make use of my barrage skill because he constantly is on the move. So it's really hard to time it right where I can like punish him for trying to attack me. I have that one shield so I can like shield up and be immune to one of his attacks while I barrage his face. That's pretty helpful. It was kind of a struggle to defeat Zyrus, but I still managed to defeat him. But we now have no more potions. I then took a skill that will increase my attack speed while barrage is active every 1 second. So yeah, our barrage will get faster and faster. So this is pretty neat. Something amazing happened as I used the artifact transmitter. What I got here was something called a bear statue. It was a unique artifact that would create a bear totem with 500 HP at a random location when we enter a room. And what happens is that when we attack this bear, it will damage everything in the map. So this was pretty good for my barrage. I can basically just make this like my punching bag and kill everything on sight. Sadly though, the bear doesn't regenerate to full health per room, but it takes time for it to regenerate its health. Still though, it's very helpful. As you can see, I've defeated like most of the enemies in the room. And alright, it's spider boss time. Let's see how strong this character is against the spider. I think I'm doing just very cute damage because I can't really find the right timing for my barrage. Also, I need to constantly think about the egg. Because, you know, if it hatches, we're in trouble because we're melee and we don't really have AoE that much. Anyhow, I wasn't able to defeat the spider with this trait. I honestly struggled a lot against this spider. I really hate its AoE attack. We were close though. I just risked it all and barrage its face, but when he casted his skill, I died. Anyhow, I didn't give up yet. This time we'll be choosing the powerful strike trait. So it's no longer a barrage, but a single strike that does a lot of damage. And just look at it in action. It's like, look at this goblin's face. It died instantly in one punch. I think I like the powerful punch more than the barrage because at the very least, this thing is a concentrated punch with a lot of damage. For the normal attacks, I just, normal attack. I don't really need barrage right now. And we were lucky enough to get the bear totem again. So this boss was fairly easy. Also, I just realized maybe the bear totem is specific for this character. Because I think the specific for Dalia was the bloodstained sword. Not entirely sure about the arcane wizard. But yeah, that's what I've noticed so far. Anyhow, as I leveled up, I have this passive skill called counterattack. So if I time my powerful strike properly, I can basically be immune to an enemy attack. Or let's say the spider does his green attack, I can time my punch right and I won't take damage. Anyways, against the first boss, this was fairly an easy fight. I got used to how he attacks, but yeah, sometimes I make mistakes. But it wasn't hard enough that I need to use my potions. I can always just wait for my skill and then punch him in the face with it. Or I can time my counter attack right. The only reason why I'm losing HP because I'm trying to practice my timing with the counter strike. For the skill, I choose to increase the amount of max level rage I have, because the more rage I have, the powerful my powerful strike is. Also, I did not really say what my very first passive was. It basically increases my crit rate depending on the level of my rage. So this is comboed perfectly with the first skill. Okay, so now against the spider boss again. I think we'll have a better time now that I have like 2 potions. My HP is still 87 and we have our counter strike skill. So this guy, or we have a lot of ability that will enable us to be immune to its AoE. Alright, so here it comes. So I'll time my punch right, which I didn't, so I still took damage. Anyways, I decided to just go all in and kill this guy while he's not casting anything. My plan was actually to kill all those spiders using my totem, but my mistake was to go near my bear while the boss was like above the ground. So now he just squished the bear and it's gone. It didn't damage the enemies. Anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna rush this guy in the face in hopes that we can defeat him. Actually, this is when I realized that I can shield up from his ultimate using her eggs as shield. So now we don't have a problem regarding her ult. We can now easily defeat the spider next time and the next time and the next time, because my main problem, the AoE, is now solved by hiding behind the egg. Well, we have defeated the spider. Took a while for me to realize, but yeah, let's go. For the 4th passive skill, I got the one that says Fatal Strike, which increases the damage of my powerful strike some more. After killing more monsters, I then leveled up again, and it seems I can increase the level of certain passives. So I chose the one that will increase the amount of rage that I have, so we'll have an even stronger powerful strike. Anyways, it was now time for the Gorgon boss. So now we have like full HP and we have like our full teddy bear and then we have an extra potion. I would be able to defeat this, I believe. Sadly though, I still haven't figured out how I can avoid her gaze. I tried like looking away, but I still get stunned. When I try to look at her, I still get stunned. I'm not really sure what to do. Maybe there's like a cue that I'm missing that I'm not paying attention to. And I just noticed that she has 2 types of like skill that would stun me. If you notice, there's like an X on the eye. If there's an X on the eye, it means don't look at her and you won't get stunned. If there's no X on the eye, then you should look at her so you don't get stunned. So I noticed that pretty late, but at least I noticed it now. And currently we're struggling for our life. I'm not even sure if I can make it to defeat her, but I couldn't and I was defeated. So overall, my favorite character probably was Dalia and its Moonlight Slash. So now I'll be maining Dalia and try to reach the bottommost parts of this dungeon. Just look at that damage. And I have upgraded already my attack skills as well because of all of the red stones I've collected so far. But yeah, the burst ability of Dalia's Moonlight Slash is just amazing. You can also get the skill that gives you like the invincibility frame so you don't get damage while attacking with the Moonlight Slash. So I swear, I like this character so much. It's so strong. All the bosses stood no chance against this girl. It's just... I just like the slash. Like, whenever Zyrus tries to hit us with something, like his range attack, we can always just dash behind him and attack him like that. It's a continuous motion of attacks. We only need to dodge when we don't have any more stamina for dashing or our Moonlight Slash. After the Zyrus fight and I continued dungeon diving, I then encountered this spirit ability, which was in yellow. I'm pretty sure yellow means legendary. So yeah, I think we're becoming more powerful with all the artifacts and spirits we've encountered so far. Spider boss was really easy now that I learned the trick to like avoiding most of its attacks, especially the wide range AoE attack. You just look at this. Whenever she spawns like an egg, I just hide behind it, wait, and then go back and fight the boss. Also, you can see how powerful Moonlight Slash is, right? It's so good. Every time I level up, I mostly pick the skills that would have like additional damage, increases my damage, or create a new type of attack that will like provide even more damage. So that's what I'm going for right now. We already have our invincibility frame with the first passive skill, so this was honestly great. The Gorgon was still a struggle though, as I don't really had many opportunities of fighting this boss. So it was still a learning curve for me, but I got used to some of its attack patterns since we've like fought this Gorgon like I think 2 or 3 times already. It's very tanky though. I can tell because no matter how many times I hit it or slash it, it just takes a while for me before I took like 2/3 of her HP. Anyways, we're fine. We have like 77 HP. We also have our HP potions ready if ever our life is in danger. I had to use all my potions on this fight because I was in a really dangerous situation. I had to rush kill the boss because currently I'm panicking so hard, but I did manage to defeat the Gorgon. So let's go. I then got lucky in one of the artifact transmuter. We got a legendary axe. This axe basically gives me like a crit rate of 10%. It's great. Anyhow, we're now at chapter 3 after defeating the Gorgon. We're at the Coral Reef Forest. The enemies here are honestly really tanky and they have like more wider and faster attacks compared to the previous enemies we've faced before. It feels so dangerous just being here and there are a lot of traps on the floor. Nonetheless, I tried my best to avoid most of their attacks and just wait for my Moonlight Slash. It's one of my safety strategy in order to not get hit. I just run away, wait for my Moonlight Slash to be up, and then I use it. But if I'm feeling too confident, I would usually just rush in their face and then attack them with my melee attacks. And I will eventually learn how the monsters here attack and we can manage the next time we come here if ever we die. I actually managed to reach the boss area without dying. So the enemy here is a giant whale that occupies like, I think 6 tiles, 2x3. Anyways, this thing is so tanky. Like, I have a hard time actually just dealing damage to this guy. Look at those freaking attacks, man. They're hard to dodge. But yeah, I'll eventually learn his patterns and I will be able to easily dodge all of these. But oh my god, what is that? What is this? Life is hard. It's difficult. But we're almost 2/3 of its HP. I'm still struggling to survive. Maybe I can survive this. Oh, it also summons like tidal waves of some sort. 2 HP and a dream. We got this. So yeah, I believe we don't got this, but yeah, I'm still struggling to survive, but eventually I succumbed to my death. Anyhow, I've collected 21 red stones all in that one journey. Of course, I raised my stats, so I will have a higher chance of beating everything down there. On this run, I decided to go with Crescent Slash. Now that I had higher attack, maybe this will work out. And I will try to focus on building up crit rate if I had a choice or if I can, using skills or choices on artifacts. Honestly, this was a struggle because yeah, the damage on Moonlight Slash was higher, but at the same time, it's actually doing pretty decent. So the pathing I'm going to take is the one where whenever I crit, there's a chance that it will automatically uses the Crescent Slash skill. It's also lucky to pick up this old artifact that increases my attack by 10%. So that's cool. The Zyrus wasn't a challenge anymore. I have fought this guy multiple times already, so there is no more surprise on whatever he tries to hit me with. So I'm just toying with this guy. Also, I'm doing so well in this run. I've never used a potion yet. So yeah, reaching like chapter 3 really raised my skill level as a player. Also, my Crescent Slash skill is starting to be like really reliable now that I'm higher level with all the passives that we've got so far. The only passive that I really want to get is the Blood Festival. And also if I ever encounter the artifact called Bloodstained Sword, I am definitely picking it up. Also, if you see and wonder why my attack damage doesn't hit the enemies, it's because of this artifact. Deal an additional 10% damage, but it hits a random enemy instead. I'm so dumb for picking this up. I regret it so much. We're fighting the spider boss again, but I already know what it can do, so it can't do anything to me. Actually, it damaged me sometime because, like, you know, I got cocky and couldn't dodge a single one of its attacks. But anyways, we're dealing so much damage to this guy. And as I leveled up, I chose to increase my Crescent Slash damage, then make like a clone attack. feel like a passive damage is more reliable than having a clone that will try to finish off an enemy. So I already have like the Blood Festival skill, so we have like a chance to heal HP by 1% when we hit an enemy with a Crescent Slash. And I finally found it, the Bloodstained Sword that I wanted to get so bad. So this will reduce the cooldown of our trait skill by 50%. That means we can now spam this thing. And also, instead of stamina, it will now use like 1 of my HP. But that is fine because we have our Blood Festival, and I will prioritize leveling that thing to its max level once we are over leveled. We will eventually not lose HP when we use our skill, but instead gain HP. So let's say the Bloodstained Sword uses 1 HP, but we will gain like 2% maybe once we increase our, you know, Blood Festival level. But that was the plan I had on mine, so I'm not really sure if it would work out. Anyhow, we're at the Gorgon fight again. I still haven't figured out at this stage how to counter this. I only figured it out because I'm editing the video and I noticed like there's an icon on her eyes where it says X eyes or just eyes open. Like that open eyes means you look at her. If an eye with an X, that means don't look at her. And if you properly do it, you won't get stunned by her stun skill. It was honestly quite a struggle to defeat her again. I had to use both of my potions or else I would be in danger of dying. Anyhow, we have defeated the Gorgon and now we can continue to the next area. Also gained a level and I will invest all of this to Blood Festival so we can have more lifesteal. Let's go. Also, I got a red framed spirit buff that will damage enemies for 180% by damage every 5 seconds. That's crazy. I'm not really sure what the red means. I think it's mystic. Legendary? I don't know. But I assume like legendary was the yellow one. So I guess it's a mystic then. The red one. The highest level. Testing out my damage on the 3rd floor enemies. It's pretty okay. It's not that high. But oh my god. The spirit damage is the one that's gonna carry the game for us. Did you see the zap of electricity that was done on these monsters? It was so high that they actually lose a lot of HP. Also, on my Blood Festival, look at my HP and max HP. This thing is amazing. I think I'm immortal now, unless we only fight like one enemy. At the very least, with this, we can hit like a group and we have like a chance per hit to regenerate like a percentage of health. Just look, I don't lose HP. It says +2 when I use my Crescent Slash and 50% reduction on cooldown. We can spam this thing. Still at max HP. Okay, this is an amazing skill, I swear to God. Comboed with the artifact, this is just amazing. So eventually reach the Emperor, and this time look, our HP 105. So each time our Crescent Slash is available, I just heal up like 2 HP. So yeah, all I need to do is focus mainly on just dodging all his skills, and since we have a wide range of our AoE skill, I'm pretty safe to deal damage to them and regenerate all my lost HP. We're still at max HP. This guy is so helpless against us. Yeah, I made the right choice of getting the Bloodstained Sword. I made the right choice of leveling up our Blood Festival. So yeah, we're surely beating this game right now. Well, Emperor suddenly like became stronger in the end. I still defeated him easily because of my lifesteal. We're still currently max HP with our 1 potion remaining. I actually maxed out my Blood Festival already, so the next thing I'll probably level up is to increase the chance that it will cast on our basic attack with a crit hit. So I was debating to just go for higher bleeding damage since we spammed this skill anyways. I still went for the one that gives a chance for us to automatically cast the skill when we do a crit. Look at this. I also received like an artifact sword which has a chance to 1-hit KO an enemy below like 50% health. Or I think that's what the description said. But anyways, I have so many AoE skill right now, and the cooldown for my trait is just so fast. So everything's amazing. We have our lifesteal, we have our DPS, we have everything right now. So surely we can go deeper in the dungeon. Finally, I have arrived at the deepest floor of the Coral Reef Forest. And what awaited me was a dark being called the Cataclysm. So yeah, this guy looks really scary. I have full HP right now. I also have 2 of my potions. And I am gonna play these very carefully so I can proceed to the next area. But holy, the amount of attacks that this thing is throwing at my face, it's crazy. But don't worry, as long as I learn his patterns, eventually I will be able to avoid most of what he tries to throw in my face. But oh my god, it's hard. Since everything is fairly new to me, I need to learn what he does. I honestly struggled a lot until eventually I learned that whenever the eye or that thing pops out, I have to avoid the line where it's at. But I can hit like one crescent slash on its face. So this is a really slow process of killing this thing. But yeah, I'm doing my best here. Because, you know, danger, danger. It became way hectic when I had his HP to like 2/3. There were just so many attacks happening. There was also this skit here where I needed to avoid some of the arms that were flying in my face. So I was really scared here. Maybe I got lucky that I didn't even get hit by a single of the arm. But yeah, there's so many factors I need to think of. Like, how do I dodge this? Where do I go? What do I do? There's so many things flying around the screen. It's very dangerous. I have no more potions. I only have like 33 HP left. And this is honestly a real freaking struggle. But it's either him or me. I will focus all my focus on this guy and defeat him. So just a few more hits for him and a few more hits for me. Whoever dies first, we'll see. And I have defeated the Cataclysm. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. There are more to explore in the game. The game will be launching on November 25th, priced at $14.99 with a 10% discount. If you want to play the game, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. Alright, bye now.